And so this doesn't occur just in standing. It also occurs on the ground. But it's very important that we understand this, because if we want to create effects on the body, like prevent him from moving, while also using the least amount of energy possible, I want to really understand my alignment and how I'm drawing power from the floor or from gravity to let those things do the work for me and not just like have to like be super athletic. So this where is our front and our back. But primarily we're going to use our front because on the back, the main frames are the butt and the back itself, right? Whereas in the front, the main frames are the feet, the knees, and the head. And then to some extent, the hands going straight forward as well. So when we're doing this, we want to consider how the base creates strong structure through the body. So Phil, if you turn sideways onto the camera and you make a stance with your leg back, with your head position, right? So you see here, if I try to aggress into Phil's space, his head is framing me and blocking me from coming in. So see here from the floor all the way into his head. He's backstopping himself with his left foot right here. He could do it with his right foot too, right? But he's got to create this staggered stance, or he's got to be square and like completely lean onto me, right? And he could, you know, potentially go square and create that, but there's not really a strong structure behind it to prevent it being pushed. So when we're talking about edged frames, edged positions, they're less common because just in our day-to-day lives, we're doing stuff in front of us. We're grabbing out here. We're picking up coffee. We're turning and aligning our square, our front to things. Yeah, and so it can be a little counterintuitive when we get to grappling and we really have to use our edge. So our edge goes laterally across the body here. So Phil, face the camera. So if Phil puts his shoulder in my chest, no, just lean slightly, puts his shoulder in my chest, right? See, I can't go forward. Even pick up your inside foot, Phil. See how the base doesn't come from this leg? It comes across the body, almost from the leg up through the shoulder going that way.
So
right?
I can do some pretty cool stuff. For example, if I make this stance here, if you come at me straight, I can frame you with this base. If he comes at me from the side, like here, I can frame him with this base. He comes square to me.
See, now it's the
pressure's coming out of a different leg. Your base.
And if you've done striking before, you know that if I'm fighting you like this, I'm presenting you with a lot of options. You know, I have more options for frames, but I'm presenting you with a lot of options. Where if I kind of blade off on you, right, now I have a smaller strike zone and I can open up to my square to hit, or even come and shift and use my pivots to change my orientation to you.
And so that's the thing is when we're square, we don't really have a lot of very strong pivots. We have a lot of strong side to side and blast. So when we're edged, pivot, pivot, pivot. Right? Yeah. From a defensive standpoint, if I'm square and he starts putting frames on, do you see there's this big space he can put frames on? It's wide. If I'm edged, put a frame on my edge or on me, period. You see how it's smaller for him to put a frame on? So for example, if he were to put his hands like this, just put your hands up like this, and I'm coming and walking in at him, a square will get caught. Now, a way that people deal with this is they move around. But do you see when I move around, it's fairly wide. So another way to deal with this, I literally just turn to my edge
And see now the thing, he's stuck under this arm, but the only frame he has to deal with for real is this one.
So
This one comes off of him.
yeah, so there's not that many frames. So if he goes and does a supine guard,
See, I'm using square frames. My back is the base, and it's going through the front of my body.
so if I walk at him square, this is what happens. If I walk at him edged, you see how it's just one? And then I can do things like that.
So I need to be here, edged, and then my square's against this other arm, right? So if we turn this way, turn, right? See, I'm edged here, square's here, and then I drop this and I come up. I have an edged base
with a square frame now.
with a square frame on his head so he can't turn into me. You know, I shift myself up, and then I'm behind him square, right? So I'm always oscillating between primarily using my square and primarily using my edge. And as somebody who plays a lot of guard, you know, like half guard is one of those things where you're definitely using an edged position a lot.
Which is why it goes into underhook so well, right? Like we underhook him, it's edged. If I try and go forward, it's gonna
That's where
fall
all
off
this
of him. And so that's why when I go sideways, he falls down.
Because you're going into his square there.
So in that video you sent us, you mentioned, oh, I'm driving with my head to knock them over. The only time you ever drove with your head at all, or you ever drove into them, was at the very beginning with the half guard. You came to here, and then you dropped them over. That was it. Everything else, you're like blasting off of them. You're driving through your square, and your square is always not on them.